All right, what's going on, everyone? This tutorial is going to be a little bit different than some of the other tutorials in the past or some of the other ones I'm planning for the future. We're going to be taking a look at a couple of strategic perspectives on how to most profitably leverage Shield. So again, most meme coins, most of crypto that's out there, it's like buy the thing, wait a while, price goes up, you sell it if the price goes up, right? Whereas a protocol like Shield that has multiple layers of profit opportunity, there's actually quite a bit different of an approach there. And I'm going to walk you through that. Now, some of you will be familiar with this. That's okay. It'll be a reminder. That's great. It's good to be reminded of the essentials, especially those of you who are familiar with the Guardian ecosystem and how that whole thing works on a really like higher strategic level. So what I'm going to do is share my screen with you, and I'm just going to walk you through its one, two, three, primary, secondary, tertiary, and how this can work. And there's multiple ways to actually like put this strategic framework into practice. I'm simply going to outline the strategic framework for you and give you a couple of examples. So let me share my screen here. This one. There we go. Okay, so you should be looking at the blank screen, three red boxes right in front of you. So the way that we get set up, and this was the first tutorial video that I did, was how to create, how to mint, how to pair, how to farm, right? So in this first box, this is where we are going to create the liquidity pair. Now, in all things yield farming, there are actually many different ways to do it. The type of yield farming we're talking about here is what's known as V2, where you create what's called an infinite range, meaning your pair stays in range forever and ever. There's other ways to do it with V3 and concentrated liquidity and tighter ranges and higher APRs and what have you. That's like a completely separate side of things. Right now, we are talking about building stability into the Shield protocol, okay? And that comes partially from all of the investors who, if you choose to, have the option of adding stability in the form of deeper liquidity to the project. Now, when you do that, you get rewarded, okay? It's not just like some altruistic action that you're taking. Like you're going to get rewarded and you're going to make more as a result of it. So the pair example that I'm going to use here, this is going to be a BNB and a BNBX pair, okay? Now, when you create a liquidity pair with V2 liquidity, you also do receive a portion of the trading fees that are generated from the swaps that happen in that pool. Now, the challenge though with V2 is you don't get to see those. It's like a sight unseen kind of thing. You don't get to see them until you remove liquidity, but rest assured that they are accumulating. So that's one layer of reward that you're getting, but it's kind of accumulating in the background. Then the other reward, and I'll show you an example of this on the actual Shield site in just a second. The other reward is that you do earn Shield as a direct result of providing liquidity to the system. So I go through, I take my BNB, I mint my BNB, or I mint BNBX with the BNB. I get the synthetic BNBX, and then I pair those two together. I could pair BNB and Shield as well. That's a current option on there as well. And there will be other options, but this is just the one example. Then you yield Shield from that. Now you can create other pairs and you'll still yield more Shield. So let's say I had another pair here, whatever it is, X paired with Y, and I'm still going to yield more Shield from that process. Now, here's where most people kind of stop. And this is like the one-dimensional approach where they go, oh, I got a reward, let me go just sell that reward for some monies and then walk away. So in our real estate metaphor, this would be someone who owns the property, they're leasing it out, they have monthly rental fee income coming in, and every month they just spend it. And it just like it's fun, but it's not like a long-term investor mentality. So again, you can do this. That's an option. I'm not saying it's not on the table. It's absolutely on the table if that's how you want to play it. But if you want to approach this with a longer term investor mindset, you take this Shield and you just keep accumulating. You add to it, you add to it, you add to it, you add to it. Now, after a while, well, I mean, you could buy more shield too, but it's nice to not only have some shield, but then to earn additional shield. Then, after you've accumulated some, you can now stake this shield and it earns even more additional assets. So it's another layer of profit opportunity on top of everything else. Now, currently, because I'm making this video on February 21st, 2025, currently there's one option for staking or locking, and it's shield for more shield. All right. But that shield I can do all kinds of stuff with. And in the future, when there are other opportunities for staking and locking, you could earn other assets. And I don't really know like what's on deck longer term. That's something that to on one level we'll work that out, especially with the community vote and the governance. So remember, Shield is also a governance token. So the more Shield you accumulate, the more powerful your vote is when we talk about like, hey, what should we add? Should we add a guard B&B or a guard and shield farm? Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. Hey, could we do another opportunity to stake shield and earn XYZ asset? You'll have an opportunity to vote on those sorts of things as we progress. Remember, not too fast, not too slow. We're not just introducing everything all at once. It's a very structured long-term process. So, but for right now, you stake the shield and you earn more shield. Now you can leave this here because it's growing. It's growing because of this. You get more shield, more shield, more shield because you are a liquidity provider. You can continue to do that and continue to earn more shield. Then you can stake that shield, earn more shield. And now you go, okay, what do I do with this extra reward? Yes, you can sell it. And again, that's fine. If that's your plan, you're earning yield on yield on yield. Maybe you want to sell a little bit and take some profits. No harm, no foul. When you see the chart, you'll see that reflected in the chart. There'll be some gains and a little retrace, some gains and a little retrace, some gains and a little retrace. But ultimately, as we talked about before, raising the floor, part of raising the floor includes some people here and there, they're probably going to sell. That's okay. But if you want the very longer term mindset, you would say, okay, let me take this shield and I'm going to plug it back in over here. And let's say I'm going to do a B&B shield pair. Great. So I can take this shield, I can bring it back over here, pair it with some of my other B&B or buy more B&B and pair it. Now I'm multiplying not only my total accumulation of shield, but I'm also I'm also accelerating the rate of growth, the rate at which my secondary asset grows. Okay. So this becomes, we call it the secondary asset because your total accumulation of shield becomes its own productive asset. Like it has capabilities to produce more on its own. So we talk about productive versus non-productive assets, right? A productive asset can produce something else. A non-productive asset, like a bar of gold, it's still an asset, it's still a store of value, but it just sits there. It's a kilogram of gold today and it's a kilogram of gold 20 years from now. Versus a productive asset like the literal farm as metaphor, right? Like buy the land, start farming potatoes, hold the potatoes, and in this example, the potatoes actually produce more potatoes. So it's the metaphor kind of breaks down a little bit, but the principle is then you take that and buy more land, which that would be this example here is buying a new pair and then participating in another farm. Now you have more land, metaphorically, so to speak. So that's the strategic outline here. Let me show you what's happening. I'll pull my other screen over here. So in this example, let me get this control panel out of the way. In this example, we say, okay, let's go to the farms and my little demo wallet here. Remember, I did this little farm and I say, okay, I've got 1.019 BNBX BNB LP. That's my the liquidity that I'm providing. I'm just leaving it there because here my unlock time, I have to leave it there at least 7 days so I don't get penalized. I'm leaving it there long term anyway, so that doesn't bother me. And here is my accumulated shield. Okay. I could claim this. And remember, anytime you claim, there is a vesting period. So it's not like immediately available. That's okay. But I could let this accumulate. I can claim it, go through the vesting period anytime that I want. And then I could take that shield and then I would go to the stake or the lock platform and I would stake or lock that shield, and that would allow me to earn additional shield on top of that. So you've got, and this was the first tutorial, mint, add LP, stake it here on the farm. Now I'm earning. Then when I get that shield, I claim, I go through the vesting period, and now I can stake or lock that shield as well. I will do a tutorial video on that process when the time comes. But for now, just understand that that's how this, well, it's one of the ways that all of this works together. So there's going to be more opportunities, but right now, you'll do well to just take the two farms that are available to you, get some shield BNB, take some of your BNB, mint some BNBX, participate in these farms. You'll get shield as reward along with earning a portion of, and that's the beauty of BNB and shield as a farm, because the trading fee income on that, again, long term, is going to be very, very good. There's no way for me to estimate like an exact APR percentage right now. I mean, this one is saying 1,340% APR, which is what it is right now. That will likely decrease as more people join the farm, but it's still going to be a really lucrative APR. And then with BNB and Shield, you'll get a portion of the trading fees that are generated from that, so that, hey, down the road, like a year from now, if you want to remove your liquidity, you'll then receive a bunch of BNB and Shield that you got as a reward for being a liquidity provider, on top of any other Shield rewards that you would have been that you would have earned along the way. So again, I don't want to make these videos too long, but I want to give you something valuable and something usable that you can take and put into practice right away. And that would be this right here. This is something that anyone, if they choose, if you want to be an investor in Shield, this would be the best method, the best framework inside of which you could create a long-term investor strategy, leveraging Shield among some of these other assets. As always, if you got any questions, drop them in the Telegram group. I'll respond as I have time, but there's a lot of other people in the group, in the community, that are also super helpful in answering questions as well. Otherwise, that's it. I'll see you next time.